to the cloud. There we go. Anyway, so any volunteers for the pledge to lead us off? Okay, I'll say the pledge. Y'all can mouth the words with me or something. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here. And we're now going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to assume that you know the words to it. If not, then pretend. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I almost forgot the words there. So, Bill, if you wouldn't mind, if you would please lead us for our invocation.
Let's pray. Father, I thank you for the day that you've given us, challenges and all. I thank you that you've given us the health and the strength to be able to overcome and to be here tonight and to celebrate time with friends. I pray that as we spend our time together, that you would instruct us, inspire us, enable us to be able to help others in a way that will bring honor to you and good to them. So bless our time together, we pray. Bless each family that has illness that is visited. I pray that COVID will leave every household that's a part of this group. And thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. I want to touch base real quick on a couple of things that I typically would do at the end, since I am going to run away on y'all and have to come back and watch Anant's presentation a little bit later. I sent out the Purple Pinky campaign information to everybody yesterday, I believe it was. It's a short time frame. They need all of the orders back in by the 12th, which is next week on Tuesday. I can take the donations directly. So if anybody needs to PayPal or Zelle or any number of other things, I can probably work it out. I also can take checks. If you're in a different area, so they split the region up into the district split into 3 different regions, and the donuts will be delivered based on the region you're in. So if you want to just give a donation for the foundation, that'll be matched just like purchasing the donuts, then you can just send money or send a check or whatever, and I'll get that over to the foundation in your name. And if you want to purchase donuts, or you know people and you're able to sell the donuts, then you can take those orders and we'll figure out which local Rotary Club for each of you that we need to have deliver those donuts for you. So we'll work all of that out. But please have some people purchase some very expensive donuts, because in the end, it's a $25 box of donuts that they're buying, but it's $187.50 that goes to the research for ending polio. And we're so very close to that. We just want to keep that going. But please message me with any questions you have. But if you can sell some donuts, please do. I've already hit up several people at work. So I've got a number of them already committed, and would love to see us as our budding club that's not quite yet incorporated as a club, show that we're here to do some good works. So outside of that, if you have any, if you've not turned in your form yet, I still have a number of people who have not with your information. Please send that. And we're trying to figure out exactly who's really committed, where we're at, and starting to look real hard still at chartering. So let me know if you have ideas, and Bill ideas, and not ideas on projects and on programs and any of those things, because we always want to hear from you. So I think that was all I had for tonight. Does anybody have any thoughts, comments, anything that they want to lead off with before we jump right in and hear what Anant and Aaron have set up?
Carla, could you possibly in your email include information if we want to send our donations by Zelle, or the 2 I use are PayPal and Venmo?
I can do.
You've got any of those?
I can do both of those. So
okay, if you could send us the information, I can send you my donation whenever I get that info.
Perfect. I'll probably do that later tonight or tomorrow. I'll get that up to you.
No hurry. I'll
Awesome.
get it to you as soon as I can. And I don't want donuts. I learned and you guys might want to check, depending on what part of the state you're in. In Auburn, our donuts would be coming from Montgomery, and we won't get them until the day after they're produced. So they're $25 box of donuts that will be a day old. So I'm choosing to not do that.
Yummy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're bringing Dothan's one of the hubs, so it won't be so bad. And I actually might be delivering donuts that Monday, that following Monday. They're actually delivery dates the 18th. The orders have to be in on the 12th. So I may be running to Troy or Enterprise or Eufaula or something, but I think ours are locally produced, so we're lucky in that fashion at least. But yeah, we're good with money. We like money. So. All right, perfect. Anat, it is yours. Take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm not able to see who is on, but let's get started. So
yeah, there are 5 team members, Anand.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So Carla and Bill had me work on updates to our previous presentation, and we'll recap quickly as to what that was, and then updates, and we'll bring it to call to action. So first, let's dive into it. So I think more than a month back, we had, for a club, I had started looking at various service projects that we can take on. And as you see here, there are 4 different ideas. The first one is English language, volunteer and donation type of service project at Goodwill. Here in Mobile area, second one is there are various projects for a public school in for a town where I'm from, and also the town where Arun is from. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit today. The other one was a readyset.org initiative where there are educational opportunities where we can be tutor, mentor, or serve on some projects they have going. And the last one is a donation where Neighborhood Bridges is an organization that we can form these bridges with schools or local community, and there are some pretty neat projects, small ones, that we could be part of. So my personal recommendation is that we focus on the column 2, where the public schools initiative in India, and combine that with our local community support, that is the Neighborhood Bridges. So let's learn about what these are as we go forward. So just to recap, what were the projects that we were proposing for there's a couple of schools in India. So the first one is to support them with some donations for the competitive exam preparation. And so action for us was to prepare the need and a ROM estimate of what support is needed. So we have that today. So you will be able to see it on next slide. Similarly, equipping their computer lab, science lab, and library. So there are some estimates also along those lines that we have prepared with the help of school administration. And the last one is the career guidance. So this is twofold initiatives about the career guidance as well as English speaking for the kids. So, and we have some information there. There's more work to be done in this, but we'll share what work is done so far. Okay, and then, so heading into the projects at the Jilla GP primary school. So here you're going to see tables on each of the slides. So the first one is competitive exam. Here, what is estimated is various things based on what exam it is. And basically this is stationary books for these exams. As you can see, a set of 10 books and such for each of those. And we're talking about $500. Okay. The next one is along those same lines. Here is a sports kit. Cricket, if you probably have heard of a game that is played in in British Commonwealth, similar to baseball over here. So cricket kit of one, and there are other, likewise, some equipment, another $500 or so as an estimate. Then the next one is science lab, so some microscope, some scientist photos and charts. So this is a let's say elementary level school, so it's not very heavy on science lab. They don't do too many experiments and such, so it's more academic charts and such.
Yeah, not, I want to interrupt you for just a second. Can you go back to
Yes.
that other slide? The one right
Sure.
before it for the sports equipment?
Uh-huh.
Okay, what are these things? Number 3, number 7, number 8, and number 9?
So yeah, these are some local language. So Lagori set is let's say 8 or 9 discs that you stack on each on top of each other, and a lead player is trying to aim with a ball, right? And so once let's say the lead player hits these discs, they scatter all around, and then his team members are going to come and try to stack, whereas the opposite team will get the ball and hit one of them. If they hit one of them, then they're out. Then it switches to other team. So it's a game that I think a set of 10 people on each team, 2 teams play.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that, the 7, 8, and 9 are musical instruments that are usually used in procession type of activities, so parades or such things they have during festivals or the Independence Day. That's the time they use those.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So Zan's plate is basically 2 discs that you've probably seen in orchestra here. Also, they use those 2 discs. One of the member would be playing those. Dole is
Cymbals?
drums. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't know the English names, but number 8 is a drum, a type of drum.
All right.
Okay.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Okay, so science lab, another $300 for simple things. Then computer lab, this is probably the largest bill with 5 PCs. They want to add speakers, chairs, and tables to set those PCs on. I was looking at various options with them. Is it Chromebooks would be simpler and a little cheaper than this? But then since not everybody has them at home, it's not safe to have portable devices. So it's chances of losing them, kids taking away, breaking, those issues are there. I believe that's their experience. So the idea is have something fixed, be able to lock in and such with a little more security. Okay, so that's basically the last one. 4 or 5 different, ranging from $300 to $2,000 of estimates. And
So,
the idea is that we don't have to do all of them, right? So we could pick phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 4, whichever we think we want to contribute to, or how much we want to contribute to, and we go from there.
so at this point, we need to figure out, it sounds like if we want to do all of it, we're looking at, looks like quick math, and I'm not always the best, but $3,310, which doesn't sound like an overly high goal to me for us to try to do that. The question would be, how do we raise the money for that, short of just out-of-pocket donations, which some people are, better equipped to do. But I don't think we always want to be dipping into our own. So we talked about some different ways of fundraising at one point, and one of the kind of silent auction type things might work for us, but there might be some local things that you can think about that we could do individually. I would love feedback on that so that we can decide what we want to do. why don't I put out a Survey Monkey? Like we did one of the Google surveys, like we did at the beginning. Some of y'all weren't here for that. And I can just
Mhm.
kind of ask some questions and get some feedback. And that way maybe we can get some more answers and then define a time. Because I'd like us to go ahead and move and do something and be able to show again that we're really actively engaged in what this group is about, which is helping out in other places and locally as well. Does that sound okay? I guess so y'all could just wave or nod if, does that sound okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good
Okay.
idea.
All
Yeah.
right, I'll plan on doing that and getting it out to the group, and then everybody can hopefully give me an answer back and we'll see what we can come up with. So thank you. All right, go ahead, Anant,
Very
sorry.
good. Thank you, Carla, for leading that charge. I had that action there. So good. We already, I guess, have some next steps on that. Then the next one is the career preparedness activity that discussing with teachers and Arun and kids back home there, we realize that there's gap. So what is the gap? So if here, when we compare, let's say Alabama course study suggests that the career preparedness has these four pillars: academic planning, career development, financial literacy, and technology. And when we compare that with the schools back there in India, what we see is that these things are missing, starting with the counselor itself, and then the awareness of different things that the schools here do, like a psychometric analysis, the various assessments, the professional exchange, right? So those things are missing. The research part that this kids go through, like resume, putting together resume, college research, profession research is being done here, but it's missing. Job shadowing is not done. So done a couple interviews with the 2 to 3 schools there, and that's based on that is what we see this as a gap. So of course we may not be able to do what let's say Alabama schools do, but what is it that we can do? So there are 2 proposals here. The first one is the career guidance proposal, and this is appropriate for 8th, 9th, and 10th grades. So that's the plan. So these will be different schools than the projects earlier projects that I talked about. So the school that we've spoken to from Arun's town probably will fit into this. So what are we saying is that we have a setup, and that would be we work with the principal to assign a counselor. This will be an existing teacher who, with additional responsibilities, so that it's not a burden for school. At the same time, we get to do some of these activities at a smaller scale to begin with and see how that works. We devise a curriculum to focus on awareness and student activities. We collaborate with career counselors, possibly at US schools, based on our exchange at local schools, possibly. That's an idea. So the idea is that we create awareness about what are the career clusters. We could create banners based on those, or if there are existing ones, we may help them buy those. And then we find ways to do professional interviews. So with our knowledge, our friends circle, we could invite software engineer, for example, or project managers, someone in aviation, someone in automotives, supply chain, and be able to have a short seminar, or let kids ask questions about that profession. So those are the things we could arrange. And then with this counselor, we're able to assess the interests of kids, their personal skills and abilities. So the idea is that we engage kids early in the process at the 8th grade level, so that they are able to make decisions as to what they want to do after 10th grade. And that's the decision point in India, compared to 12th grade over here. So idea is that we expose students from 8th grade level and skipping the next activity. So we going into the next proposal. And I have trouble.
Anat, before
Yes.
you go to that, what is the possibility, or should we consider a possibility of connecting with a school system in Alabama that would be able to do a virtual meeting with folks in India?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's what.
that's exactly what the third bullet in setup is, to collaborate with career counselors here at US schools. Perfect. I think we are thinking along the same lines. And you, Bill, looks like you have some contacts at the schools, and if you know a counselor that might help us, we could definitely try that.
Well, I'll be in and out of school systems. I've got to go to it. And I think county schools would be good with, our county schools would probably work well with the schools in India, because the county, many of them are going to have not only some of the professional career types that you've mentioned, but also a heavier emphasis on the farming and things of that nature. So I wonder, like with some of the classes that you have in India, it would kind of be neat to assign a homework for classes here to be able to be on a Zoom meeting with a class over there. And if we did something like that, we might be able to put in a plug for our Voyager Rotary Club in a local school system that would possibly pull some of the teachers into our group.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are various ways we could collaborate.
He made a good point with regards to kind of what we look at and what sort of careers you're looking for. Is it more of an agricultural inclination? Are you looking for more science, math, STEM type stuff, or just kind of wide open? Because it may help us to match up the right schools with sort of the direction that you want to lean.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, at this point it's wide open, really.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not restricting to any particular. As we get, I guess, as we mature our understanding of how this will work and what will benefit, that we might be able to do that better. But at this point, it's wide open.
Okay.
I'll have to find out at what level our students here start talking with counselors. But I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, here in USA, we see like the student from the grade 8, they started nailing down their career path slowly. Whereas in India, it's not the case. I mean, basically, they don't have the counselors. They just work with their friend, relatives, or they just go the opportunity, they just see it. It's not organized career path for them, and then they fail after a lot of efforts. Any of our input or how to approach the career in a structured way will definitely help them.
Yeah. For example, if I take my own example, how did I decide to become an engineer, right? Well, after 10th grade, I had to choose, am I going to study science or am I going to go more into accounting? So that the decision happens right after 10th grade. And I ended up choosing science because that has more options, or someone had done it. So without knowing what careers are there, I chose science. I struggled through, and after 12th grade, I had to choose, am I going to go for medicine or teaching or engineering or an agri school? And so I applied to all four. And I was selected in teaching. I was selected in homeopathic medicine side, and then but I decided to go to engineering because I knew a couple of people who had joined engineering courses, and that's all. I did not know what kind of jobs are there, what kind of salaries they pay, and where the jobs are. But just trying to shoot through a black or dark darkness rather. So, but if we equip these kids with some knowledge of what are the career clusters and how do these people work, or what kind of work they have, where are the jobs, what kind of degrees they have to prepare for, on where to apply for those, what schools to go to, I think that will help.
Yeah, and also
think
the
I need-
future trend of the technology, right? The
Right.
trends are evolving like anything. Then every 5 years or 10 years, there is a new trend coming up, like artificial intelligence, data science, right? Those kind of trend we know, but not necessarily the student at the high school level are aware of it.
Yeah, that too in rural area.
Yeah.
I almost think we need to try and set up a meeting with you and not, or possibly Arun, and that we could talk with some of the educators in the United States with these these grade levels, so that they can know what your experience is, how you came to get your degrees, and with giving that explanation to some of the educators, then we might be able to pair up the schools to do some type of collaboration, in a sense of a sharing of what's going on there by some people there to here and some people here to there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Some exchange, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Definitely.
are programs, right? There are programs, the student exchange program or something. I heard from my daughter, she said there are some programs that, students keep exchanging.
Right. Okay. Any other questions, or okay to go to next?
I'm good.
Okay. So the next element, really in the same lines, is the English speaking, right? So I started learning English letters in my 5th grade, and same as Arun. But in 2006, the Indian government, or the state from where we are, decided that from 1st grade they will teach English, which is a good thing. But still, because the environment is not there, they don't speak in English. So they still struggle. Even after they complete 10th grade, they can barely speak 2 or 3 sentences together. So the idea is that we help them in, again, 8th, 9th, 10th grade to polish that English speaking. They are taught the sentence structure, the grammar, but since they don't have opportunities to speak, the fluency is not there, the confidence is not there. Whereas after 10th grade, if they are going into science side of the education, then it's 100% English. And then these kids from rural areas struggle in that environment. So the idea would be to then equip them with these basic skills, build some confidence using this type of structure. And what I have personally done is that I have about 40 people, adults, as well as 6-7-year-olds. So a wide range. I do this Saturday and Sunday every week. I spend 1.5 hours on Saturday and 1.5 hours on Sunday on, let's say, Zoom call. And these kids or these adults join this meeting, and I assign them to prepare some speech. And these speeches are, for example, what's your favorite food, or what's your favorite festival? And they prepare this ahead of time, and then they present. So there is some work happening over the week, and on the weekend we get together. So these are my nieces and nephews and friends and their kids doing this. So my plan is to use the same structure and apply it at a school level with the help of the school administration and English teacher, so that we're able to increase their fluency. And this is pretty much based on Toastmaster style of meetings, where there is a prepared speech session and impromptu speaking and evaluations and such. Okay, any questions here?
Yeah, and then just to add the point, Bill, here is in India now the English schools started coming up. There are private schools, but not necessarily everyone can afford that at a remote places like village. And also they are still learning. Some of the schools known called as English school, but not necessarily they have the right infrastructure. Everyone cannot take the benefit of that school because of the financial challenges. So this program will definitely help the people who cannot afford the English school in India, especially rural places.
Yeah, so on the career guidance, and English is part of that. At this point, there is no clear understanding of what club can do apart from the few topics we talked. So there is some groundwork pending. We need to continue to work on that. But Arun has spoken to a school in his town. I have spoken to another school, and the administration is very open. They like the idea. They think this is the right thing to do, and we want to launch it. I think it doesn't take a lot of money, or any money really, to launch, because we're going to use existing structure and work with existing teachers. So we will get started now, as soon as the schools are ready, and see what they need over a period of time, and see how to collaborate with the rest of the membership, as well as the schools and counselors here in US, like Bill was suggesting. Okay. And then the last initiative, so that was international, mainly India, but what we also should have linked to our local communities where we live and work, where we send our kids to schools. So the idea is that we find projects like on this website called Neighborhood Bridges. For example, Fairhope High School is enrolled on this, and every school can. And I believe the person who enrolls that school should be able to create these projects. For example, a project like individually packaged snacks for Fairhope High School students, or shoes for students. So it's very simple, quick, like social media style, and people who have signed up get the notification that here are the kindness opportunities in your neighborhood, and see if you want to participate. So to me, this is very neat. The need is already identified. So how do we participate as a club? The idea is that my proposal on right side there is based on where our members are, we can subscribe to those neighborhood bridges, and we can allocate certain dollar amount per month or per quarter. Let's say $50 per quarter, and that's what we spend. We find needs and we continue to contribute. And once we contribute, we bring it back to club and say, this is what we did. This is how we fulfill the needs until the budget is exhausted. And so we keep record of that. So that there is control over how much we spend. At the same time, there is a little bit of leeway for whoever is doing this as volunteer, or if it's in different communities, maybe each member can spearhead the contributions in their own communities. And so that way we're able to be active in our communities here locally.
The school systems that I wind up going into, I want to talk with some of the administrators, principals and whatnot, and find out if they have anything in place that's similar to this. I had never heard of it, and not until you brought it up. And I'm excited about this as being something that can be done in several different school systems. Based on what you were saying, I went into one school and I told the principal that I needed to give away some money. Does she have anyone who needs? Is she aware of a need? And she is a mission-minded principal, and so she's got her finger on the pulse of what's going on there, and she didn't have to give any significant thought to being able to tell me, I know exactly where to put this. And you know, that's the type of thing that really excites me, is the possibility of meeting a known need, and it makes me want to give more.
Right. Yeah, very good. So bringing it all together in call to action is the first thing is funding. And I think Carla talked to this earlier, that we need to find ways to collect funds and channel those to these projects. So we'll let Carla help us with that infrastructure, and then go to the next step. The next one is I presented some phase 1 to phase 4 different donation projects for the science or the computer lab or library or competitive exams. And then this is where we need to decide which ones to fund, or all of it, or how this will go. So that depends on the first action of funding for sure. And then the next one is the career guidance one. So this one, Arun and I will kickstart with the school's administration and see how this goes. It's mostly time right now. We're not aware of any funding needs or a need to do any funding. So we will see how this goes. But the idea is connect with the schools and get them going, and then figure out the rest.
Anand, is that you're talking about schools in India that you're doing that with, right?
Yes. Yep.
Is
Correct.
it possible for some of us to monitor those sessions that you're having?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that will be really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because our team member, they will feel motivated. In fact, if
Correct.
someone from the internationally participating, because we talk to them since our childhood, but someone is participating and helping them, which is from totally different country, they will be really motivated.
Yeah, that's a great idea. In fact, once we get started going, I think the idea was to have common meeting with them at least once, to introduce those people to you and you to them. And then, but definitely, so one of the thought in that English speaking, for example, is to have coaches, mentors, right? So if someone like you, let's say, is able to join once a month and listen to them and suggest simple words and pronunciations of those, listening to their speeches and how they talk, would be immense help. So yeah, there is need for such roles.
Cool.
Right, and then the last one is the neighborhood bridges. The action is that we prepare a map of our members. That's where I need to know the location of every member so that we're able to put it on a Google map or something like that to see where we are. Then we find out whether neighborhood bridges exist in the local school in that area. If not, the idea would be to go to those schools and promote. And that could be a separate program by itself, just promoting that, getting those schools to sign up. create projects, and then once we have the projects, then we help them with donations. So quite a few decisions to make. I think there are a couple of these that we can decide as soon as we're ready and get started. There are some things in pipeline that Arun and I'm able to channel without funding or such at our personal time. Any other questions?
I'll have some later. I'm sure I'd really like to be able to identify how many different school systems have that neighborhood bridges program in them.
Yeah.
Don't know how to do it, but I'd like to know.
Right.
Anant,
Yes.
Anant, it's Karen. I also want to encourage us to maybe look on the Rotary International website to see if there might be some matching opportunities with other clubs around the country. Our club could drive it, but there are partnerships, and there have been partnerships in the past where clubs from all over the world can partner, and it multiplies the investment in something like this.
I'm sorry, looks like I got dropped off. So
Oh, I'm sorry, you want me to say it again?
Yeah, please.
I was going to say, you might want to go to the Rotary International website and see if there also are some complementary funding opportunities for something like this.
Okay.
There are some grants that we can apply for that might apply to this. Of course, our club could drive it and make some initial investment in this project, but there also might be some additional, just like they're doing the matching with the Purple Pinkies, that doesn't just magically happen. That's something that, that comes from our eyes. So there are ways that this could become, and if we were to really document everything that we do and maybe come up with really great processes, this might be something that we could roll out to other clubs, working with other schools, even once we get this one fully funded. So that's something to think about as well.
You said it well, and I did not bring it up in my talk, is that after talking to one of the teacher, Vijay, that was listed in one of the slides, he suggested that he knows someone at a district level as a counselor. So over there, the counselors are not at school level, but they are at district level, and they can only do very little at this point. So he promised me that he's going to connect me to that counselor, so that then we're able to go to that level and try, like processes and maybe a large scale, not just 1 or 2 schools that we think of, but if we do a district level and then drive down from there at every school in that district, that's great. So
and there also are a lot of a ton of Rotary clubs in India, all over the country, all over the continent, that
it's everywhere.
They might also be interested in partnering, and even doesn't have to be in that region necessarily. There might be someone from other parts of India that want to help support something for people who have less access to those kinds of schools and those kinds of programs. I think this is fantastic.
Karen, how does the student Rotary, is that Interact?
Rotaract.
It's one of them. There's Rotaract and Interact, and I forget which one is which.
I was just curious as to how some of the what would be in Alabama and how they might be brought into this as well.
That's a really great. Or even well, I don't know if it would be a RILA program or not. It could be that too. There are lots of ways to. Anytime you're doing something with schools and you're helping people access education and careers, it's really fulfilling the mission of Rotary Foundation. So there are multiple roads to getting something like this funded and maybe duplicated and rolled out. So I think all of these. I love the idea of having Rotarians be the audience for these speeches. I think that is such a great idea for these kids to practice. And in my, I have kind of limited international travel. I've been to several places, but I do know that especially when you go to a country that's not necessarily frequented by Americans, the students, when you meet kids, they want to practice their English. If they've learned that you are a native English speaker, we have kids in Turkey that ran up to us and they're like, they wanted to speak English to real English speaking people. And it was really, they wanted that, but it also was so beneficial to us because it just completely smacks of Rotary International's and the Foundation's mission for international peace and understanding. It just has it all over it.
Yeah, that's right.
Pumps me up.
Go ahead, Bill.
I said it pumps me up.
Cool. Yeah, so I think we will launch it at the schools, and we will plan for a meeting. Usually, I think Friday evening. Our Friday evening is their Saturday morning. When we could do that, I think that will be best time slot for us to join the meetings. So we'll plan at least a couple of those and see how those go.
Well, if nothing else, we could take turns if several of us can't be on a call at the same time.
Exactly. We don't need too many people. If we're able to, one or two of us are able to join them every meeting to begin with. Over a period of time, we want it to be a self-sustaining, not dependent on us. That's why to have an English teacher run this at the local level so that he has motivation for kids to teach English, and then kids themselves are then able to help each other, because some kids do well and the others don't. And so when they are watching each other speak well or write well, they naturally want to be better. And if we are able to join even once a month, let's say, once we get this going, and coach them on particular topics, and give them ideas, I think that will go a long ways.
Awesome.
Okay. I guess that's all on that topic then.
Did Carla totally leave us?
I think, yeah, she left us alone. So it's up to us to close, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she put on recording. Maybe that blank recording will continue.
Yep. Yeah, I will. And also, I think we're supposed to round it out with the 4-way test.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yep.
That's right.
I can lead it if you'd like.
Please.
Okay, the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the
Second,
truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Fair
to all concerned.
Will it build good friendships? Sorry, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Yes.
I need to take one of these speaking classes.
Yeah.
And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Yeah.
Thank you all. And that was great. And Arun, I really liked hearing about this. This is fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Till next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.